If you're hunting grizzly bear, all you really need is a 22. Hello and welcome to episode 97 of the Greenway Outdoors podcast. My name is Kyle Green.
I'm AJ.
I'm Jeff.
I'm Ryan.
Welcome, guys.
97. We're almost at 100.
Yeah, what are we going to do
How
for
many times are
100?
you going to say that? Till we get to 100.
Yeah.
Every time till we get to
Saying it-
100.
Been saying it since
Beautiful
90.
fish. Beautiful
then,
fish.
then we got to move on to 200.
Yeah, no more beautiful fish in the episodes ever. There's nothing I hate more. Don't you beautiful fish
What
like you don't know
what are you talking
whatever
about?
do you mean? Every freaking
It's a
clip
beautiful animal.
on every single
Beautiful fish.
Don't do it.
every
Beautiful bear.
outdoor show ever. You know what we should do is we should talk about the outdoor show things that irritate us. And this was not planned. This is not on my list. Although
It's a good. It's a good.
the list
That's
is
a
the
good-
list is a bit rough anyhow. So this is a good idea.
Man.
Okay, we had this philosophy. Isaac, this is right at you, buddy.
Oh, we're
Okay.
doing that now?
We're doing it now.
I feel like
Right
we should have the
now.
merch ready.
No, I mean that's a whole
Come
thing.
on.
Yeah, eventually.
Hey, it's easy to get shirts like that printed.
That's fair.
No,
in fact,
I don't know.
No,
I feel
so
like
you say.
you could be giving up a good idea. That's all I'm saying.
we could still do it. It's ours. This is
ours.
This is actually patent. What I'm about to say, and
I can
Isaac,
tell by you saying that it ain't.
there's a certain level of intelligence that would be behind your words if you really meant what you're saying, and it's lacking.
You ain't got it.
Yeah.
We call it dibs. So,
Okay.
Let's note the date.
Okay. The date is,
November 9th,
9.
2022.
and this was released November 12th. 11th?
Something.
11th? 11th, yeah. 11th's my lucky number.
Of 2022.
Okay, anyhow, let's get into it. So, something that annoys basically we hate anything that everyone does.
Yeah. We hope we offend.
We're
aim to offend.
yeah.
You're
So,
a cliche. Get out.
hunting and fishing shows. What are the most annoying phrases and things that they do that make you cringe when you watch hunting and fishing shows? The first and foremost, which I have been guilty of, but it's almost like you get into a trance of stupidity.
Yeah. It's
Because
true.
you've been like
Stupidity.
you've been inbred watching it.
Don't-
You're like, that's
You
not
don't
it
know
is.
what else to say because that's what everyone says.
Right.
You know?
The
And it is what you say when you walk up the animal.
So it's just a default.
And I don't like defaults.
we got a little stupid almost on the Buffalo trip. We were like, wait, we're getting a little too, whatever,
Like
Three-
whatever-
313.
whatever reference.
No,
like stereotypical.
We need to quit being so dumb here because we were potentially shooting some scenes that we were going to hate later on.
But that's what's so great is that we have each other as best friends to be like, you're an idiot.
Yeah.
Don't say that again. And we can all say it to each other because we're on equal footing, and that's the best part. So anyhow, the the phrases that bother us. First and foremost, the one we're talking about, Jeff's go-to. He's actually never filmed an episode without doing it.
That's
He's actually
true.
never filmed
That's
an
true.
episode without doing this.
Every single time.
Stupid, ugly.
I say
ugly.
it.
What does ugly have to do with it?
I say it, then we go, do it again.
I yell it. Nope.
Nope.
Nope. And that is, Jeffrey, it is, wow, that's a beautiful fish. Or, wow, what a beautiful animal.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody says it.
Everyone. Every time.
Oh, what a beautiful white.
Nope.
It's
Start
the
over.
first.
Eh.
The first thing comes to your head, no matter what.
You're like,
It's not.
no.
It is.
I mean,
You may have a filter now to not say it, but
I think
as the
people-
first thing comes to your mind,
I think people do it
if
because
you're not a piece of garbage.
I think you're hyped to walk up to the animal. Because, like, I remember when I first shot a deer, I'm like, geez, I can't wait to get up there and see what this sucker looks like. You know, I want to look at his paws.
Oh, wow. How beautiful it is.
Yeah.
Up close.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it.
But you like, what does everything feel like? First thing I did was touch the eye.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Mhm.
Well,
I
that's
used
a
to
good
do
way
that
to
as a
test
kid,
if it's
too.
dead.
Same thing
too.
I did to my dad while he was asleep.
Well, here's the other thing,
I was too scared to touch my own, you know?
It's supposed to be like, it could go one of two ways, and people tend to side with one versus the other. You're happy, and it's exciting, and it's
Sure.
fun, so you say it's beautiful.
It's a moment of awe.
It's great. It's this and that and whatever. Or it could go the other way where it's very morbid, where you walk up to it and you're like, I'm so glad this is dead.
Like
Dead.
pigeons.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
true.
The only thing that
It's finally dead.
Didn't have to track it.
the only
whatever.
animal that I feel no remorse for, and I'm just happier that it's dead than it was alive.
Should we all take guesses?
We should all know. I've said it 100 times. I
Well,
despise one animal. Jeffrey will know it because he knows.
I have
me.
my
I mean,
answer.
I know, but you've never walked up
Say
on a
it.
dead one.
Say it on three.
I've stomped them.
1,
No,
2,
not the animal. I'm
three.
thinking of swan.
Turkey.
Geese.
turkey.
Jeff, what's
turkey.
yours?
I said swan.
Okay, Ryan knows me better than my best friend. It's 27 years.
Swan?
Yeah.
Swans are the
I hate
worst
I
animal
hate
in
swans,
existence.
but with what turkeys have done to me over the years,
I guess
by the
that's true.
time I can get my hands on one, I feel nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see red. Yeah, you know, like every other animal, I'm like, you know, you took a life, you got to respect it and be grateful. Turkey, it's like better you than me.
Which is really funny because the last time we were on a turkey hunt together, he got one, and you know what he said first thing when we got up to it, and he had to re-record it.
What a beautiful.
What a beautiful bird!
No, he didn't.
I don't think I did.
I think you did.
When was the
No
last?
way.
Ooh.
I don't think so.
Was it
man.
at Pete's?
It was.
No.
Yep.
No.
The last
It was at
this
Pete's.
year's trip.
Yep.
No, I think you're a liar.
Ryan edited
Yeah.
it, so he
I
would've heard the law.
also that was the most morbid turkey harvest I've ever done.
That was
I
struggle.
Dude, it was a nightmare. So I'm in the blind, right? This turkey, it's in a field. I shoot, and I swear to you, that turkey ducked as soon as I shot. But I shot him well, but not in the head enough. He gets up to fly. I shoot again, and I shoot his leg off, and then the other one's hanging. Okay,
So now we can't land.
he's 50 yards when he's flying away. That's why the legs got hit, but so did the rest of the body and stuff. But he flies and he soars behind us. We're in a blind. He soars behind us and kind of tucks into the woods. And I said to I said, "Are you sure I got the leg?" And Jeff's like, 100%, 100%.
No question.
I'm like, okay. This actually, I don't know if this is the story to tell, but
Hey, it happens.
it's turkey, so it doesn't matter. So they're like the fish of the animal world. You know, like like everyone's like, oh, it's fine. You can do whatever you want to a fish, but don't shoot a deer.
You can't say fish of the animal world. That's
the
the same.
mammal,
That's the
the-
same. No, that's the same
like-
as saying.
No, 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 no,
The
no,
land-
no,
the
I
land-
know.
What'd you do? Real time?
No, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it.
Oh,
Don't do it.
he just did it again. We were. I have to now. I have to. We're.
I was feeling coastal.
We were in Hawaii. And
Well, thanks so much for tuning in.
we were in. Isaac loves bringing this up.
Yeah, well, Isaac's getting roasted this episode. It's coming, so go ahead.
We were in Hawaii and he posted a picture of like pancakes, eggs, bacon, and he goes, "American breakfast in Hawaii," and posts it. He posted that American breakfast
And
in Hawaii.
instead of Ryan being a good friend and telling me, "Hey, idiot," he let it slide, and now I'm the laughing stock. I can't even find the post.
I have it.
Isaac, of
Saved
course. Isaac did too. Couldn't wait to show me.
Just for a time like this.
The point was, everything we ate in Hawaii, they gave us like beans and Spam for breakfast. So I finally got like a normal American breakfast, and then
You,
I felt
Why is
like
it harder?
I was in a different country, but I wasn't.
yeah. Just
So
because it's different from what you're used to in the
Oh,
Midwest,
he said-
which means it's not American.
He said America in Hawaii. This is almost worse.
Oh, you
Damn.
couldn't have worded that worse. America in Hawaii.
I like that it's a snap. It's a Snapchat, isn't it?
Yeah.
And you screenshot it.
I didn't. Isaac did.
That's the
Isaac did. He
worst.
did this 3 years ago.
I don't have a Snapchat anymore, so that's good.
I can't make that mistake again.
God, I mean that's
You got to post that somewhere. That's got to live on the internet.
no, that's a risk
somewhere.
cutting thing. Don't do that. Anyhow, we've gotten way off track. So the turkey sails into the woods. I go in after it, and I'm like, it could just be gone because we didn't see it go in the woods. We just saw it was angling towards the woods because we couldn't see behind us because there's no windows in the blind behind us. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go in the woods a ways all the way down. You stay here, and I'm going to walk towards you slowly. And what an animal do is when it's hurt, a lot of times it'll hide. And you like have this inkling that it's not there because you're like, well, if I shot it, he'd be around yelling and stuff. But no, they'll get quiet and low. And I'm like walking, and just when I'm getting really close to Jeff, like the row, so we're both walking kind of towards each other. He's going like 1/900th mile an hour, and I'm going at like a half mile an hour pace, like a couple steps stop, couple steps stops. And in the time I went 50 yards, he went 2.
You told me not to go.
Yeah,
You're lucky I went any.
So I'm working towards him, pushing this little stretch of woods, and I get to a spot and I like wait for a while, and I'm really looking around trying to see if it's dead and I missed it, and all of a sudden it goes fa 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 fa, and it runs, and I was like, oh, so I shoot again, and it hits it only in the head, and then it like rocks back on itself and just starts oozing blood all over its body, and I'm like, oh, so I go running up, and then I grab the head because I'm thinking it's dead, right? Because I shot the whole back of the head off, and it goes berserk, beats the piss out of me. So then I set it down and I'm like trying to smash its head, but then like I was using a shotgun that had it's inertia driven, which means that
Your rounds are just.
yeah, because it racks from the kick, whereas most guns are gas operated. So the gas is what cycles in the next load. Inertia driven, which means that when the kick hits you, that's where the push comes from to open up the chamber. The benefits of them is they're easier to clean. The downfalls are they kick a lot more. Anyhow, because I was trying to smash him with it in the head, it was racking out shells, and turkey loads this past year are no joke.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
$18 a load for the ones I was shooting the TSS loads.
Jeez.
So that's like $30-something in the grass I'm looking for now, and it was just a nightmare. But I got a beautiful bird. So that's why
The first thing I said was,
I
how
have
beautiful it
trouble
was.
believing that would be the words that I used. But you're saying that's the case.
We set it up nice for pictures, and you said it.
Did I say just the two of us, or did we record it?
I don't know.
It's possible. It's
See,
on the
because
mic.
I still mean it without a mic. Like,
Right.
it is pretty. Like, they're
Right.
crazy looking.
You still want to see it on screen.
I don't want to hear it, Phil.
Yeah.
I don't care if you have to sit through it for me, but I don't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it.
I can be a cliche if I want, but don't you dare.
So, yeah.
So yeah, back to the original topic.
So that's the number one issue is the problem. Like, everyone says the same stuff. Another thing that annoys the crap out of me. And Times Up Outdoors, I love you, but you just did this too. I just watched your video and I couldn't believe it. There's one sentence that I want to deck anyone that says it.
Should be outlawed.
It should
It should.
the same thing every single time. I said it as a joke at the moose hunt to mess with everyone, but like, there's always a guy that comes up to you when you get a deer,
Oh, yeah, okay.
and he's like, and he can't wait. Like his
Oh, yeah.
and William, you said it on Facebook, so shout out to you too. I'll take everybody down.
Yeah.
Times Up.
Good.
I'm done
or
with people.
Michigan Out of Doors. You've never not said it, but people walk up to you once you've gotten a deer, and
Anyone with a goatee.
they're like, well, the real work starts now, huh?
Now the real
work begins.
Now the real work begins.
I want to slap.
Arr.
I hate that.
Which is funny because most people just take whatever they got in and have it cleaned for them.
And honestly, I think
That
there's,
is true.
You know?
Not
I think
us.
there's
though.
more
No.
work killing it than it is cutting it. From how better we.
Well,
that's
that's
for
because
sure the
that-
case for us.
But
Yeah.
that's because we know what we're doing, though. Is like, I feel like the guy that says it shoots one deer every 3 years.
He
So-
sits in a blind. He's
Right.
got his Cheetos and his drinks.
UAW.
You know.
You, it's so true. But that one gets me.
Yeah.
And then there's like this other stigma of hunters, and we. I hit my chair and got lower.
Uh-oh. He fell off his phone book.
The hunters. I'm gonna do my best to describe them. And AJ, you jump in.
Oh,
Jeff,
it's
you
so
jump in.
funny.
Ryan, you jump in. But there's a particular group of hunters, and the way you can identify them is normally they will work in this sentence. They will say, "You don't need a big gun. All you need is," and you fill in whatever small caliber you can think of.
Slingshot.
But
pea
a
shooter.
guy, when we were going moose hunting,
man.
a male is like 1,500 pounds.
That's what set us off.
It did, and it's what started this. This is
It
what
is.
actually inspired it.
is.
And he goes, "We had so and so shot it with a 243. That's really all you need for a moose, a 243. I wouldn't use that on a whitetail.
And that's
you
why
can.
I asked you what that was.
Is your plan to torture the thing? Like what?
All you need is.
He's like, and then they like, well, with good shot placement, and then we took that and then made it like 10 times worse. Like, if you're hunting grizzly bear, all you really need is a 22. You know, it's like we started,
Air rifle will do the job.
yeah. If you're a real hunter,
Uh-huh.
and
That's what it
that's
was.
that's the sentence.
That's what it was.
So they'll say that.
That's the worst phrase if you're a real hunter.
So there's like a group of hunters that take pride in handicapping themselves
Yep.
with tech or
comfort.
comfort or gun capabilities, handicapping themselves to make the hunt harder for themselves, so that they can put themselves on some
So funny.
level
Like a moral
of
high ground
yes
above you.
above you because they made it harder on themselves. And my favorite thing about this with the 243 thing is AJ's walking. AJ doesn't hunt. He just films with us and stuff, and he's getting into it, but he's like new to it. He goes, why would you waste your time, though? It's just a waste of time to do it harder. And I'm like, I don't know, AJ. And this does not include archery because there is something to archery. But we call these people from now on, Isaac, a 28 gauger.
Oh yeah.
That's what we're calling them. So because a 28 gauge is a very small
I had
caliber
so many
shotgun.
questions.
Is the 28 gauge smaller than the 410 or is the 410 smaller than the 28 gauge? I know they're right close.
I think 410's the smallest.
Okay. So there's obviously with a shotgun, a 10 gauge is big, 12 gauge is slightly smaller, 16 gauge is slightly smaller than that, 20 gauge is slightly smaller than that, and then 28 gauge. And 28 gauge is like,
a drinking straw.
yeah, it's a very little shotgun shell, and you'd have to be pretty close and very accurate in order to hit a bird. It makes it way, 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 way harder.
Yeah.
And
The thing I don't get about all that is you're less likely to make a clean shot. You're less likely to make a good shot, kill the animal without it suffering. Why would you do that to yourself? Why would you do that to the animal you're hunting? I get, like, if you do it right, you proved that you're a really good hunter. But if anything goes wrong, and things go wrong in hunting all the time, now you're just a piece of garbage who hurt an animal who now got away. And, you know, you're setting yourself up for failure.
Yeah.
There's no reason for that.
so we want to make shirts, and we're going to, and they're going to say, don't be a 28 gauger on them.
It'll probably be the name of the podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't
I had
be a-
so many questions, and
And I had an
through the-
answer for
through
every
the
one of
answers.
them.
It just made it better and better. I was laughing so hard.
It was there were some other examples. Can you think of what they were? Because we had a bunch. There was another thing like,
Making birds flush.
oh yeah, I mean like another thing is like or shooting a duck on the water is like
Yeah,
there's
that's
that
what it
same
was.
moral high ground. A 28 gauger will be the guy that will tell you all you need is a 243 or all you need is a 28 gauge to shoot a freaking buffalo. You know, that's a real hunter is that's all you need. Or it's the people that hate on the people that use bait for deer hunting and they're like, you're not hunting, you're just shooting, you're not a real hunter, blah 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 because you're using bait. When the guy's got 20 acres, he's got to bring the deer on somehow, and he gets 3 days a year to hunt, and now you're belittling him because you're better than him. That's a 28 gauger. A
Yeah.
28 gauger is somebody who goes, oh, you didn't make that grouse flush. Well, we were in Maine, and you couldn't get that grouse to flush to save your life. And you know what? I like eating grouse. I
From
yelled.
what I could tell, they had never seen a human before, and it's just
What are you? Non-threat.
almost running away, but almost curious. Like, would turn around and like,
yeah, not run
what are
very
you going
far.
to do now? Because I don't know what you are.
Yeah. Then pouch.
What was the antler thing? It was.
Oh, you can't eat the antlers. They'll say that.
Oh, so you come in with one. Now the real work begins. You come in without one? Huh. Well, that's why they call it hunting.
Another 28
28
gauge.
gauger.
Nice, Jeff.
So Ryan, you didn't get to go on the moose trip. So what was your thought on 28 gauger? Because you knew it.
Immediately.
It took me 8 seconds to explain it to Ryan.
You said we have this new term called, and the phrase would go, "Don't be a 28 gauger." Immediately knew
That's
what you were
crazy.
talking about, and I immediately knew because, or Isaac. Isaac is my best man. He just recently switched over
Yeah.
to a 28 gauge.
He broke up with all the other guys. Seriously. Yeah, it's just Isaac now.
And he'd gotten the gun.
To be fair, he didn't inherit it. Like he got it from he didn't like
Yes.
go out shopping for a 28
No,
gauge.
no.
To,
It
He
was,
didn't ask the clerk like where you guys keep the 28
yeah, no.
gauge.
Yeah, no. It was
They're
kind
on the top shelf, let me tell you.
oh,
it was kind of set in his lap, but still, he did transition over into 28 gauging, and we went and shot clays, and it was exceptionally difficult for him to shoot clays with that thing. Meanwhile, I have my 20 gauge, and I'm creaming everything. Like,
Right.
it's great for me. I'm having a ball.
you're the
He's-
king.
So they get shot out and they just don't get hit and that's it.
Nothing happens.
Yeah.
Wow.
There's so few pellets in it that the spread is so sparse and there's so little energy that it can only go so far. And the 28 gauger that's commenting on this, don't bother. You won't change our mind
Yeah, or win.
because you're writing right now and we're not listening.
Dude, yeah, well, I don't know, man. He ended up getting pretty good with it, it sounds like, but still, it is definitely one of those things where it's like
It's a handicap though,
I'm purposely. So you know what's actually funny though? Okay, to defend it,
because he's diabetic. Yeah.
yeah. he can't carry as much
That
weight
poor
because his
kid.
blood sugar will get low.
He gets so much for the diabetes.
So much insulin. Anyway,
Yeah.
So to defend the 28 gauge though, less pellets in your bird. That's kind of a plus.
I've never really had a problem with that.
You
Sure.
only had
No.
like you only had like 1 or 2 in that grouse.
Yeah,
And then the other thing is
I did shoot the head off. Though.
I started hunting on a 410. It was a single break action hammered 410
As
gun.
a kid,
Yeah.
right?
As a kid, that's why I started on.
Great gun for a kid to start learning. There's less kick. There's you
And
know.
it's considered an expert gun, like
Yeah.
based on how difficult it is to shoot.
Oh
I got
my god.
as a kid, so I'm a real hunter.
That's a 28 gauge. Oh, you just 28 gauge yourself.
So my dad's thought process behind it is it's easy to shoot. The mechanics of it are easy for like a young mind to understand, to reload and how it functions and everything.
Teaches you to not be scared of the gun.
Yes.
Sure.
And if you want to compete with the guys who know how to shoot, you better learn how to be accurate or you're never going to get a bird. So it kind of forced you into a position, if you ever want to be successful, you got to learn to be quick. You got to be the quickest to the draw. Okay. So I think it helped me in that sense. I'd never go back. I would never ever
sure.
go back.
Right.
So yeah, don't be a 28 gauge.
It makes your first bird that much more of a treasure. But once you go up to a 20 or a
But
12 gauge, it's like, why?
It's not
Why?
it's not the kid using a 410 or a 28 gauge. It's the adult that is
Choosing
handicapping himself to make it
Right.
harder, and then has to proclaim it to anyone that'll listen.
I'm curious. Like Isaac goes out with your dad, Ryan. He's bringing it along. Like if he was gonna go hunting tomorrow, that's what he's using.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's what for the woodcock and grouse. That's what he's using.
What's your dad using?
20.
Okay, that's crazy.
Yeah. So he's the first one in the group to really adopt the practice of using a 28 gauge.
Do you think it'll catch on?
No, I don't think so.
Okay, good.
They all
Good.
they all are very confident in their.
Yeah, they don't have to make it harder on themselves.
Good.
Oh my!
Because I respect your dad, so I would hope to.
What are, I want to know more 28 gauge terms.
We had like 7 of them.
You
They
should have
were
written them
all
down.
I know, and some I feel like we've lost 4 of them that were
We
just
have
gold.
lost a couple
That
of
were
them.
like, that's got to be a shirt. That's got to be a shirt.
Because you can make that into like the 28 gauger line of clothing where it's like, well, that's why they call it hunting. Now the real work begins.
Don't eat the
You
antlers.
can't eat the antlers.
That,
But
you
you
don't
know-
need anything more than a 22 for moose.
But you know people are going to get them and wear them unironically.
Or you could.
Well, we get double.
Oh,
we
yeah.
get double the money.
Yeah, who cares?
We get double the money.
You could do, yeah.
It's a great business deal.
Yeah.
A shot placement is everything. Use a 22 on moose or something.
So funny.
It-
Yeah.
It was we were getting really ridiculous to where it was like, oh, I like pellets in my meat. Like,
Yeah.
it became that.
Oh yeah.
Oh, you wearing the. Why'd you bring so many clothes for? We're hunting. You just
Yep.
wear the same
That
pants
was
every
another
day.
one. That
Oh
was
yeah.
another one. Yep.
Yeah.
You shower when you get home.
Yeah.
Because I'm a dirty piece of garbage.
Yeah. I mean, that's actually a true story. I had a guy tell me, he's like, yeah, I went hunting for 5 days, and I only took 1 pair of pants. And did I stink after?
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's hunting. We're like, I hate
Sure
you.
ain't.
Not
For
us.
you, maybe.
Doesn't have to be.
Not us. Nope.
Stinky.
We've changed our clothes and been just as successful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Weird.
More so because we're using, the actual caliber you really need to do the hunt that we're doing.
Yeah. Then it was the other. It was the other one with the meat though. Is like they're like, why are you cutting the silver skin off? Real hunters like the silver skin. Oh, why are you cutting it? Why aren't you eating the tallow? Real hunter melt that down and use it for candles and then eat it. It's like
By all means, go right ahead, but don't.
it's like
Oh, so good.
it's like why don't a real hunter is like
I like that terrible taste.
I know oh man, why are you cooking that meat? It's like,
It just kept going. It was like that stuff.
It did.
over
Oh, you
and
only eat the
over.
heart and liver? Why don't you eat the lungs? Real hunters, they eat the lungs. You empty the bile fluid on top of the the kidneys, and then
good
you
sauce.
you got
I
a real
got
good
shot
meal
every
there.
time.
I got yeah.
It's we cross people like whoever's listening may not realize it, but we cross people like this all the time.
I have a hypothesis.
All the time.
I think it's because we have the show, and
Oh yeah.
I think in a way, until people get to know us, we never claim to be experts because we're not. We do too many things. You know, realistically, I'm sort of an expert at maybe duck hunting and maybe ice fishing. Other than that, I'm not an expert at anything. I'm pretty good at archery. You're an expert on raising dogs for hunting and hunting upland. That's what we got. But other than that,
we would never claim to be an expert in anything else.
No, we've done everything else. You know, we've gotten bears and moose and elk, and we've had all these great experiences, and we learn as we go. But we've never claimed to be an expert. But people think because we have the show that we are 28 gaugers.
Yeah.
Because of that. So they come to us 28 gauge 2.0.
Yep.
Ready to
this pent up 28 gauge energy.
Small
little gun energy.
Yeah. Just die.
Oh, there's another one. Little gun energy.
Yeah, write that down. Oh, that's in the podcast. It's recorded. Yeah. Don't steal it, please, guys.
Please. We get a patent.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. So yeah, that was. It's just.
So your hypothesis is that
the fact that because we have a show, people think that we're probably 28 gaugers, and there's nothing a 28 gauger has to do more than out 28 gauge another 28 gauger.
Yeah.
So they think we're 28 gaugers because we have a show, right? But we're not, and we despise everything that it has to do with.
Mm-hmm.
So
that is the kiss of death for our group, is to like.
It's
the kiss of death.
Yeah, we're a rough crowd. Chuck did good with us on the moose hunt.
He did.
Yeah.
You could tell at the beginning he was doing a couple little things and then very quickly learned.
Yeah.
For sure, don't do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's because you don't have to.
And
we're just normal people.
And he
Yeah,
realized it too. He didn't. It wasn't as clear to him until
No,
we were
he got right in on the jokes, started throwing his own 28 gauger things.
He did.
He was doing a good job.
Yeah. Why aren't there pellets in your meat? Aren't you a real hunter? Don't you want to eat your pellets? Eat your pellets.
You want your pellets?
I only got 2 teeth because I'm a real hunter.
It's so fun. The best part is it's true though.
Yeah.
Like what we're saying is true. Like you know,
every hunt camp.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yep.
Yeah. We had so much fun at the Bass Pro 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
But everyone we talked to was a fishing 28 gauger. And
Yeah.
they're like, well, we do this, and that, and our record is this and
I
that.
make my own flies.
And I'm like,
what reel do you use? Whatever one's available, dude.
yeah, the Johnny Morris one. The one we get for free.
Yeah.
But it's like, I don't know. It's just, it never occurred to me to be that way. And I just don't, I always say
it makes
this,
it
though.
not fun.
There's no grading scale in hunting or fishing. There's no grading, like you don't get a grade, right? In basketball, you score this many points, this many touchdowns in football.
It's like
whatever.
golf. You're competing
score.
against yourself.
You get a score.
You know.
But hunting doesn't have a score, and there's no real way to get it because you can't ever duplicate a situation. Every bird you've ever shot at, you're the only person who will ever have that exact set of circumstances. It took off at this time when you were standing this way in this climate with this type of bird that was going to make this type of move. You're the only one who will ever experience it. Kind of cool, but because of that, if you missed, you'd be like, well, anyone would have missed that. Or if you got it, no one would have. It's just me. You know, there's no grading scale and there's no way to verify anything, except for maybe in fishing competitions. But
Which,
again,
as it turns out, is easy to win if you stuff them full of weights.
yeah. So we've learned in the recent news story that talks about that. But there's no grading scale, and I think that's where it leads to quick egos, quick. You know, whereas I'm like, I don't know, man. Like we go out and we do our best, and we just try and film a show, and we're always learning. So you know, we're a little handicapped in the sense that, you know, Ryan walks with a limp, but no, I'm just kidding. We're a little handicapped in the sense that we just don't know everything everywhere we go, but we're okay with that.
There was that thing you were telling me with the adults when you were growing up, how they wouldn't shoot does, and then you had to like pitch it to them that that's not the right way to actually do it.
You know, it's interesting. You know, something Joe Rogan says is he's like, when he talks about Hitler or whatever, he's like, that was 2 people ago or 1 people ago. It's like, there's people that are still alive that were alive then. Like, these things happened way more recent than you think. You know, stuff that happened in the 1800s was like, you know, your great-grandparents.
Yeah,
and then they
100
experienced
plus
it.
years isn't that long in retrospect.
It's nothing. But we think, like, you think of it as, and then you realize, like, that wasn't that long ago. That was like my great-grandparents, and they dealt with it. So anyhow, he always says that line, and I always found that interesting in the sense that when you look at like the deer population, so in the 1920s, 30s, the numbers got super, super low because everyone was hunting them, and then conservation started to come on the scene. Well, the deer pretty much got wiped out by commercial use. So they made it, basically people were hunting them to sell them for money, and that wiped them all out. So it became illegal to commercially hunt or fish for wild game and then sell it, with very few exceptions, such as axis deer in Hawaii.
Yeah.
And very, very specific things like that. But for the most part, it became illegal. And then they started doing the licenses and raising money for conservation. That's how we brought the species back. That's why there's more white-tailed deer in North America today than ever in recorded history.
Ever.
But so our grandparents, and this is where it was like, to me, it was like, this is old information. What are you guys doing? But I realized where they got it from. So my grandfather lived through all that, right? So he lived through that time. Well, when they were trying to bring the populations back, you didn't shoot does, ever. No one shot does. It was bad to do.
Yeah, because one buck can go and impregnate a whole bunch of different does. But if you have one doe and a bunch of bucks, you can still only get that one.
It's like
Right.
that guy in your family that married everybody. Your papuncle. Half papa, half uncle on both sides of the family. It's about time you
We'll
delete
cut
them.
that.
Yeah. He listens. Anyhow, the
I didn't realize family was open. I'm excited to the next couple podcasts.
my grandma's gone, man. Come on. They
Still the story
Yeah,
for me.
there's a lot. There's still a lot more.
So anyhow, my grandfather's alive during that time, so he gets it in his head never shoot does. Well, he would teach my dad when he was a kid, right? Like we don't shoot does, and those numbers were still coming back. Well, then I'm born, and I got taught the same thing, as did everyone else in our hunt camp. And like we're going up and stuff, and I'm doing research, and I'm like, there's a lot of deer now. Like our ratio in Michigan's like 48-1 does versus bucks. Like I think it's time to start shooting does. Like this isn't right. I start looking at the science, and then like shooting does and how that changes and impacts the deer herd. So by shooting does, deer have something in them handed to them by God, and this is such a cool design, is like if there is a bunch of deer around, like tons of deer, and does tend to run in herds and stuff like that, then what will happen is they'll only have one baby. If there's no deer around, they might have 3 or 4. So they have babies in numbers based on what the population's doing around them.
Doesn't it work that way too with their gender? Like they self-regulate their like which gender is being born based on how many they come
There's
across.
a lot of that stuff in there.
It's so crazy.
That's
So-
crazy because you'd think it would be just 50-50.
The problem is if you're like,
Well, I think it's when they're shorthand on one side, like for some reason the does are able to develop. Like say there's a shortage of bucks or males, they can. I don't know.
they can try to. That is not as specific and effective as the number, though.
Right.
And at any given rate, it is still almost always 50-50 birth,
So interesting.
male to female. So kind of, and there is something to what you're saying, but it's a specific scenario, and I can't remember what it is. But for the most part, it's 50-50. So when a mom has the babies, it's 50-50. But if we shoot all the bucks, then that impacts the birth, and then there's a lot of does that aren't getting bred, and so on and so forth. So you want more of a normal ratio instead of killing all the bucks. And I'm reading all this and stuff, and I'm like, man, we should start shooting does too, and thin that out. And they were all, push back on it about that. They're like, you can't.
Shot a doe.
They're like, you can't shoot. Oh, you don't want to shoot a doe. That's almost. Some of them were like, it was mean.
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, like, have you tasted doe meat versus buck
That's
meat?
not the spirit of hunting, Kyle. Bucks are much harder to shoot. You should go for those.
28 gauger.
Bucks what people care about.
So, yeah, and it took me a while, but Pete did a lot of research, and he swung with me on that, and he owned the property, so that's how it went. And now some of us shoot does. Took a while to get my dad into it, but he's come around. He shot a doe a couple years ago. I wouldn't be surprised if he did this year too. And more people are starting to, and that'll help even out the herd and make it healthier, which is good. But for a while, 2 people ago, it was you didn't shoot does so that the population could come back, but it's here. So now maintenance is different.
Yeah.
And
it's really here because I think Michigan has either the top or the second biggest
spread.
deer to vehicle collision numbers. So like we're at the point now we have to start looking in the other direction now.
Who do you think's the biggest?
New Hampshire.
I believe it's
I'm just
somewhere
kidding.
else in the Midwest.
Probably like Minnesota.
Could be.
West Virginia.
I could see.
Really?
I could see that because all the hills and mountains and stuff, like you get blindsided quick by a deer there.
Yeah, I could see
The
that.
odds of hitting a deer there are 1 in 37.
That's
Every time
high.
you get in the car,
I guess.
every 37 times you get in the
Yep.
car,
You're gonna do it.
like once a month you hit a deer, or is it like in a lifetime?
Oh, here. Your Mechanic has a chart. Between the year of 2015 and 2016, West Virginia had a 1 in 41 chance of hitting a deer.
What does that mean though?
Probability
per
of
person,
collision with
maybe?
deer.
I like 1 in 41.
Michigan was number 8 at 1 in 85.
Wow.
So 1 in 85.
And that's still
so does that
stupid.
mean 1 in 85 people will hit a deer this year? Because that would make sense. But if it's like 1 in 85 times you get in your car, then you'd hit 3 a year.
It's probably
No,
what
I
the
think
first
it's
option
the
you
first
said.
one.
Yeah. Per
Okay.
year.
You guys
But-
want to know what the odds are for Hawaii?
Hold on.
One in-
one in.
One in
Hold on.
40,000.
Hold on.
No.
Hold on. 1 in. What's yours?
1 in 2,000.
1 in 1,200.
40,000,
You're sticking to that?
I guess.
My guess is 1 in 1 in 18,955.
What was yours?
2.
So you win. Price is
Yeah.
Right rules.
Oh, Price is Right rules for sure.
Yeah, always. Bob Barker, rest in peace.
So that's definitely the
He's
highest.
still alive.
No, not by
Did
the time
he
this
die?
airs. Not by the time this airs. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, I hope he lives.
I think he's around.
Yeah, he is. I probably wrote him off now, but
Yeah.
yeah.
And Alex Trebek was the one who died.
Yeah.
Oh, I keep no track of humans.
In
R.I.P.
town, I've seen more doe than I have bucks, just within.
Well,
state
that's
limits.
pretty normal.
It is?
That's
What
pretty
the,
normal.
The
yeah.
funny thing is, though, like
There's 48-to-1 ratio.
1 in 40. Oh, that's nuts. Oh, well, 1 in 85 isn't that bad. You think about how many cars just driving a couple miles that you see on the road every day. 1 in 80 is still stupid.
Yeah.
For the number of people that hit deer, or the number of deer that get hit every year. Ugh.
Okay.
Trust isn't built in a day. It's built over time. The early hours and the late nights. It's built by doing the work and pushing the limits every day. Because the promises we make are the promises we were built to keep.
The Greenway Outdoors is brought to you by Ram Trucks, built to serve. Motor Trend's Truck of the Year for the 3rd year in a row. And by Bass Pro Shop and Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. Tracker Boats, fish the finest. And by these other fine sponsors. If you'd like to help support the Greenway Outdoors, please like and comment on this podcast and subscribe to all of our channels.
Okay. I wanted to tell this real quick. What made me think of this was the story about like me poking my dad's eye like 20 minutes ago or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And like making a joke. I thought of this. So you know how I sleepwalk
Yeah.
and sleep talk? Apparently, didn't I sleep talk to you when we were in Maine?
Yeah.
What did I say?
You
In the tent.
You said my name. I go, what? And you said, are you still in here? And I'm like,
No, I left.
yeah, I'm here now. And you said something about a moose head outside your window.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, what? And then there was nothing.
Yeah, I sleep talk all the time.
Like, yeah, there's a moose head outside my window.
I
What?
I sleepwalk a lot.
And then you say what? And then he says nothing.
Nothing.
Because he's sleeping.
So anyhow, I slept walk a lot as a kid, and 2 stories that were really, really funny. My dad said this. It made him mad, but he he woke up and he's in bed with my mom and he's asleep. He wakes up and I'm this far from his face staring at him.
Demon kid.
Omen.
That's it. We're moving.
He's not mine.
He said he opened his eyes and I was just staring at him and I was like this far from his face. He said he woke up because I was breathing in his face.
Oh.
I was just staring at him.
Oh,
Did he
that's
hit
how
you?
a little kid gets hit.
I
Yeah.
say, I would accidentally hit someone who did that to me.
No, you normally don't wake up. No, I'm just
What was the other one?
Yeah.
So wait, what happened? That's it?
He panicked and went after me, and my mom had to calm him down because he was angry.
He thought you were an intruder, probably.
Yeah, he was pissed.
Yeah.
I had the same dream like 15 times as a kid that there was an intruder that broke in the house, and I ran in my parents' bedroom, and it was a bear, and I was hiding on the other side of my parents' bed with my mom, and my dad was fighting the bear, and he was half winning, half losing, but he was fighting the bear, and I had that dream 15.
The
15
bear is symbolic somehow.
Yeah, 15 or
Your
20
dad
times.
earned that by telling you that your
That's
family
right.
was part bear.
That's right.
And my dad lied to me as a kid and told me that like my great grandma married a bear and then had babies, and that's why he was so hairy.
Yeah, and you believed it on account of your dad's majestic chest hair.
Yeah, the man looks like he's wearing a rug.
So he was teaching you bestiality at a young age.
Yeah, I told the teacher that in 5th grade. I told the teacher. I argued.
No, he said we were.
I argued with Mrs.
Yeah. No, it's
Shut
true.
up! You don't know.
I argued with Mrs. Campbell.
You remember fifth
Daddy's
grade?
right.
He's
Colonel-
10 at that point, and he still believed it.
So did you.
10.
I got a pretty bad one like that too, though.
I got one more, and then you can do yours. So then the other one I did to Uncle Jim, and this one's funny as hell. So I don't recall it, obviously. I'm sleepwalking. But it was so outrageous that Uncle Jim didn't believe I was sleepwalking, and Aunt Niecy had to make him realize I was. So we were staying at their house. My parents were in Sturgis, South Dakota for the Harley rally. So we were staying with Aunt Niecy and Uncle Jim. I can't even imagine how funny this must have been. So
We're all waiting.
He's sleeping, and I walk in that room, and he's sleeping on his pillow, and apparently I walked up and ripped the pillow off from under. I ripped the pillow up from underneath his head and threw it against the wall. So I ripped it out, and he fell. And then Aunt Niecy said he tried to hit me. He was trying to get up to hit me. And Aunt Niecy said, "Look at him." And I was standing there crying in my sleep after I did it. So then it was scary. So she had to walk me back into bed, and then she laid with me until I was asleep, even though I was asleep. And then I woke up and was fine the next day, and he was all pissy. He was just a little,
Look at him.
little pissy.
Clearly he isn't awake. That's what I imagine. What? You got to be some kind of possessed. What in the world? Oh.
But yeah.
All right, Ryan, what's your normal, not demon-possessed story?
Oh my gosh.
Oh my
That noise
god.
is
just bitter about
It is so funny, dude.
He's just bitter about losing that PlayStation.
Oh, yeah, he had that coming. So Uncle Jim, my family were drinkers, and everyone's at Grandma Betty's house getting pretty buzzed. It's kind of messed up, but when I think back to my childhood, I was a kid at 10 years old getting dealt into dollar poker, 5-card, on Friday nights at my grandma's house. Well, they all smoked. My mom and dad didn't condone this, but I wanted to go stay at Grandma and Grandpa's because Aunt Niecy was there when she lived there. I was a kid. I was 7, 8 years old. We're sitting at one of those tables that had do you remember that rubbery plastic tablecloth type thing that they'd have in kitchens? Just garbage. And we had Grandma Betty had one of those, and they'd all smoke cigarettes, and people called them Mullins would come over. That was my grandma's friends. Don't. But Mrs. Mullins was a 4th grade teacher, and Mr. Mullins, he was so Southern, he put the Southern in Southern accent. Anyhow.
And every time they came over, they brought a pineapple upside-down cake.
No,
ahead,
it
continue
wasn't
with your
that.
story.
It was not that. It was not that. That's not funny. Not that, man. Not them. So, anyhow, they came over. It's funny, Mrs. Mullins didn't really like Laurel, and I really dig that.
Nice.
Yeah. They
Here's your
combated.
Laurel dig for the episode.
Yeah, there you go. Check the box.
If you're playing bingo at home.
But she loved me, so I don't know what Laurel's issue was. Anyhow, I'm playing 5-card poker at my grandma's house at 10 years old at 11 p.m. on a Friday. Walker, Texas Rangers on the TV. It's a 12-inch black and white TV with a VCR in the front.
Mm-hmm.
Smoking cigarettes so much you can barely see the cards in the room. And they're playing Southern country music "All My Exes Live in Texas."
The good stuff.
That while Walker, Texas Rangers on, I'm drinking a milkshake made with Neapolitan ice cream. Shout out Grandpa Buzzy for making it for me. And I'm playing 5-card poker, and everyone's blitzed. and I'm just a kid. That's what
Time of your life.
that was like a normal Ryan. Look at Ryan. Yeah, that's my upbringing. So, and I'm, yeah, I don't. Where was I headed with this?
Get to the PlayStation.
Oh,
Now we know what the entire childhood happened.
I've been sitting here thinking, trying to make.
I think you told that
think of a
2 weeks
funny,
ago at the
a funny
podcast.
joke, because he got my family. I'm sitting here, and meanwhile, he's just doing it himself. Keep going.
so there was a party. My mom has like 5 siblings, so there's just a ton of people there. All the cousins were there and stuff. And Uncle Jim bet me that he took a beer bottle cap and squished it and in half. And he bet me I couldn't open it up and put it back on. Well, he had a PlayStation. This is when PlayStations first came out. And he had Tomb Raider and like 3 other games. MLB, golf, and something else. And he let me borrow it for a while because he wasn't using it much. And he said, if you can put that bottle cap back on that bottle and I can turn it over and no fluid comes out, I'll give you the PlayStation. Because I was just kind of doing that.
And what are the odds?
I didn't have a lot of toys there. Apparently, I was working on it myself. That was
Yeah.
what I decided I was going to be doing that.
yeah,
night.
I mean, growing up in the family you got cigarettes for Christmas.
Oh, well, we weren't always rich. No, I'm saying- so, that reminds me of that one Family Guy episode where he's like, it was like 50s restaurants in the 50s. And it was like, hey.
What do you think I am, a Nancy? Of course I want cigarettes on my sandwich.
Anyhow, I start working on it, and I get it. After about an hour and a half, I get it. Or it's like just about there. And everyone's worked up and loud about it, and everyone's like, oh, he did. You know, everyone's freaking out. And Uncle Jim backs out on the deal because I just about had it. And then Grandma Betty goes, his great-grandfather or something like that used to do that every night just as a circus trick, so he's got it in his blood. And Uncle Jim's like, well, I didn't know that, so deal's off. So he backed out on it.
Well, he got hustled. I get that.
And I lost my mind. And then I think...
That's why you did all that stuff to him all those years later.
No, in secret, Aunt Nisi...
What stuff?
in secret, I think Aunt Nisi just bought me whatever I wanted then.
Oh, nice.
So I like worked out for me.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. But and grandma didn't like it that he was backing out. She went after him for it because she's like, you made a bet in my house. Yeah. God bless her. What a crowd. My mom and dad are normal as hell. So it's just anyhow.
They were all sweethearts, to be clear.
I am saying this in a way, and I hope it comes across, that I really did enjoy myself as a
Oh,
child.
yeah.
I had a blast. I
You
enjoyed
didn't
it.
know any different. You didn't
Right.
know there's so much good out there.
Oh man. Well, you got to put your life out there. You know, people want to hear it. So,
I'll make mine about 10 minutes shorter.
Nice.
but not better.
In 4th, 5th grade, you're going through puberty. You're starting to take the sex ed class and everything, and you're learning about all that junk. And my parents convinced me that when you go,
You
through
had both, and everyone did.
no, my parents convinced me together one night that I don't know if they talked about this beforehand, planned it, or what. But one night, they convinced me when you go through puberty, it only happens to boys, and not all boys, only some boys. You lose your tongue, and it grows back.
Like teeth?
And you,
Yes.
And honestly, how do you not believe it when your mom's that hot? You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Go ahead.
He has to dig back when he
Yeah.
gets cigarettes for Christmas.
Wasn't a dig. It was a beautiful compliment for a beautiful woman. Go on.
So anyhow, they convinced
Shout out
me,
Mrs. Parks.
They convinced me that some boys lose their tongues and the tongue grows back and it comes off like almost like a sleeve. Like
Like a snake skin?
Again,
yeah, almost.
Jeff's the ringleader on
And
this.
you couldn't and you believed it with having not seen it ever.
Correct.
Yeah.
I had never heard of it or seen it, and why would I? What kind of crazy thing like this? I heard about all this other crazy
Was
stuff
it-
that happens.
Was it like an angle like Santa Claus where they're like, good boys it doesn't happen to,
No,
but
no,
if
no,
you're
no.
bad,
Oh
no,
my God.
no,
you know what I'm saying? Like
No.
I could see that.
no. It was purely luck of the draw whether or not you lost your tongue, and so I'm like, wow, that is just freaking crazy, man.
You think
I didn't
do you
know.
think it has something to do with like
Believe
DNA?
that until 2 weeks ago.
I there was no thought process behind me just believing what my parents were telling me.
I feel like they would have been more
So
prepared.
I'm hanging out with my
Backstory.
best friend at the time, Jacob Avant, at his house, and we're like,
What's his address?
JA.
we're eating pizza with his family, and somehow this topic comes up.
I would like to note before you finish, what you had to experience in the next part of this story is something I had to experience weekly. Where
And he dragged me in on it.
where your dad told you something, and you believed it, and
It was
then
a
you went
dirty lie.
and then you went out and
To be
said it
fair,
in front
this-
of people and
this
had to look
time-
like an asshole.
This time it was both my parents.
Yeah,
My mom.
Yeah, hot mom too. Yeah.
And so, anyways, I'm at my friend's house. We're eating family dinner, and I'm there. And somehow it comes up, and I'm like, "Did you know? I just found this out. You lose your tongue, and it doesn't happen to everybody."
Oh man, you're pitching it.
And yeah.
Because you
And
had seen the mesothelioma commercials where it had happened. You know what I'm saying?
And my friend's
Daytime
dad,
TV.
he goes, "Yeah, man, didn't happen to me, but it happened to my brother."
Oh, he got in on it.
Oh,
Yes.
he didn't blink,
He didn't blink.
so it carried over.
Immediately, he's like, "Yep, it didn't happen to me, but it happened to my brother."
I
And
love it.
That
That's
locked
awesome.
it in.
That's-
That
Yeah,
locked it in.
you've got
No
you've got
question.
outside confirmation.
3 adults have told you this now.
And I go home to my parents. I'm like, "Happened to Mr. Avant's brother," and they're like,
Couldn't believe it.
"Oh, you're going around telling people this. This is bad."
Well, that's on them.
And,
Yeah.
But
They find you in the
And they-
kitchen. You're like, just get it over with.
Oh my
but
gosh.
with their panic, they're also dying laughing because they were working. There was no coordination here.
Yeah,
He just
they're just pumped that it carried.
Yeah, he's like, "This is a great opportunity to trick this little kid."
And they're pumped on the dad that was still in on it.
So
He kept going.
that's my thing.
That's funny.
That's
Right.
great.
Ryan, Ryan, I see the beginning of the little thing you wanted to talk about, but the second part I ain't so sure on. So
Okay.
I ain't gonna bring it in any more than just that. You
All
go
right.
ahead.
Oh, you want me to talk about it?
Ryan trying to find Musk. About
No, music. The
Oh.
the I and the C kind of went together.
Trying to find Musk.
See is silent.
story is my idea.
Yeah.
All right, Ryan, why don't you tell us about Musk?
And then what about the second part?
Well,
Go ahead.
we can bring it up if we want.
No, I don't want.
I don't.
Okay.
Want,
No-
don't you ever do that again?
yeah, that was the last time.
I tried to do it in a nice spot, and you wouldn't have it.
You guys
Refused
did-
to look at me
you
and
guys-
wouldn't keep talking.
That's the first time you've ever been the decision maker. on
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
It seemed perfect. We were going into a new story.
It was great.
We always do it.
It was great, but normally you guys won't listen. How long are we?
We are 50.
That's awesome.
Wow.
Oh,
We didn't
you
do
know
any
what's
of the
funny?
stories I wanted to do.
That's counting up. This is counting down. I look and it says 29. I'm like, but it's the
That's a-
battery
and
or
it's
whatever
minutes.
it is.
It's minutes.
Yeah.
It's
I
amount of
thought,
space left
we had
on the
been
card.
going for 29 minutes. I'm
Oh
like,
no, that's 29
holy
minutes
shit.
left.
Can Ryan do a story or?
No.
No.
You seem intent on not letting him. Go ahead.
So, the note that I wrote down, that was just a little
Musk.
funny between us. Not the Musk part. That's supposed to say music. That's just bad handwriting. The second part, we shouldn't say on air.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, so
Seems like nothing's off limits on this podcast.
with the big plans we have coming up in the future that we can't really talk specifically about.
Huge.
Yeah, the biggest yet.
Huge.
Honestly,
It is the biggest.
not just the biggest, close to the biggest in the industry we're in.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's about the biggest the announcement we have coming that I cannot wait to share with you guys. That will be so huge. It'll be so huge.
Bigly.
It'll be like Jeff's head size. This head size. It's a because you got big head.
Why would you make a joke about Ryan's dad like that?
Oh.
Aha.
You didn't mean me. You meant Ryan's dad, Jeff. Anyhow, we have a huge announcement coming very soon. We can't wait to share it with you guys. It's going to be colossal, and it's going to change the landscape of the outdoor industry as well as this company for sure. And our episodes will be more significant, I would say.
Definitely.
And because of that, we're really ramping up production, trying to push ourselves to be better than we've ever been again. And Ryan is taking the lead on music, or Musk, depending on how you read it.
Yeah, so I was just laying in bed one day and I'm like, this might be a good opportunity because just working in coordination with other artists that are independent, they don't have to report to anybody. like us. We own our entire company. They own all their music and everything. Reach out to them and work in coordination together to be able to use their music, because on a lot of bigger productions, you hear a lot of like good music from real artists, not the royalty-free music. So I've been trying to work on that, and the deeper I get into it, the more confusing it gets on how copyright works. Like,
We got to call Mike Jackery.
yeah, he could be probably a big help, but I'm sure he's got a fee.
No.
I'm trying to stay away from anything that
No, he
has a
should be-
dollar sign.
He should be able to.
Absolutely.
No. He should be able to help us know how to navigate the waters.
Yeah.
But anyhow, go ahead.
Yeah. So right now my tactic is TikTok, looking up like the hashtag small bands as like the tags in that, because there's a lot of small bands out there that
I
don't
thought he
have
said cans.
the bands don't have any recognition yet. And the hope is I can just reach out to them, and if they're willing, we can offer them some publicity on our end through the show credits.
And playing the show.
The song plays in the show. They get credit within the credits on the specific episode, as well as potentially having a contributor tab within our website that they'd be linked to. And there's a lot of big artists that have been found that way through shows. Weren't we just talking about when
It was someone that already had a
One Tree Hill.
song that it was on a certain channel.
I don't want to be anything other than what I've been trying
Nope,
to be
stop it.
lately.
Stop
you
it.
didn't get a copyright strike?
Oh,
Stop it.
Oh, sorry. Trust me. I don't think I was in tone enough to.
That has happened to people.
Really?
Yeah, they've been singing a song and they get a copyright
question.
strike.
I think they could get me on Love Shack, but that's about do the beginning of Love Shack. Well, if it's in it, you do it so good. Come on.
If you see a faded sign at the side of the road, every wedding ever.
That was really good, Joe. That was really good. That was really good. It didn't even blow out the mic too, which is great.
But yeah, I used that on. So the premise of it is this: if you are a up and coming artist out there and you like our show is about to launch on a very, very new and giant platform and reach a giant audience very soon. We can't tell you what it is. We can't do the announcement yet, but you'd be stupid not to figure it out from that. So because of that, we want to have better music and cool music incorporated in our show. And Ryan had this brilliant idea that we can also have a tab on the website where it can be like a contributor tab for music. So we can have like links to all the different artists and Spotify's and stuff like that and songs that we use in each episode on our website, and kind of build this little ecosystem of music with people that contribute to the show, and then people will hear that music through the TV show and then be able to find it on our website, and there'll be some advertising in the show for that music as well. And they've been doing stuff like that for a very long time. Like I said, One Tree Hill did it like in 2006. So
Probably, you're probably right, actually.
The way I kind of see it is like that part of our website would be like a lot of musicians. If you go to their Spotify account, you can see some of their playlists that they have put together of music they like. Like maybe where they've found inspiration or whatever, but like this would be like our place to our collaborative little group of musicians that working with us, and
Things that we like that you should like too.
yeah, basically.
the irony is we also didn't start small. The very first person to help us, and this is because he's just a sweetheart to us in every single way, he's very big. I don't know how platinum and all that stuff works, but he's probably something. But Ted Nugent, I mean, he's huge, and he's letting us use all of his music, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Although
He's probably platinum.
he doesn't really need
Million copies.
he doesn't need our publicity.
He does. I don't know that he wants
Tie
a
his
tab.
shoe.
Yeah, I don't even know that he wants a tab. We might not be allowed to do the tab, but his music is going to be incorporated in the show. So if you want to be, so I guess what I'm saying is it's no joke. The platform we're going to be on is huge. So if you've got music that you'd be interested in pitching to us, email Ryan.
Yeah.
Or email us to our website. Go to thegreenbayoutdoors.com, send us a message. Ryan will get it, and then he'll review what you got and go from there.
Yeah. I'll tell you whether it sucks or not.
Yeah, that's that's kind of the thing. Is like, it wouldn't be super fun to have to tell people no. So
No.
so be good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
You-
mean,
yeah. If
you
you're
know.
making stuff.
Something I wanted to run through real quick before we're done, though. Also, through this new announcement that we can't make yet, you've probably noticed in our shows, our podcasts, our Huntcasts, our social media, that we've obviously had a lot of sponsor updates and kind of just a different ecosystem going on for us, and who we're working with and how we're doing it. So I wanted to kind of mention who we're working with right now and who we plan on working with for the very, very, very long foreseeable future. And every one of these brands are companies that we've either had since the very beginning anyways, or we were pursuing them forever because they're who we believed in. We've only made one brand switch in one category ever in our entire company history.
Yeah.
And that was a tough decision to make for us, but it was the right one. But other than that, we've remained loyal to the exact brands we've always used from the beginning. But I just kind of want to go through those real quick. So
I'd like to preface this with people like from the outside forget that when they think of sponsor, they think very corporate-y.
Mm-hmm.
But the way it's kind of worked with all these sponsors is they've almost all developed into friendships where you're working with a very specific group of people and you work with them pretty diligently on things and budgets and creative and all that good stuff, where it's not necessarily as corporate-y as people think, and a lot of them are a lot of fun to work with.
I'm glad you said that, because part of the reason why I'm doing this is because we work so hard to raise awareness for conservation in the outdoors. If you watch our actual TV show, we include, I should mention that we have an actual TV show, and again, it's going to be on a very large platform here soon. We work very, very hard to raise awareness about conservation, hunting and fishing rights, teaching people how to get into the outdoors. We have a Bible verse in every episode, which turns a lot of sponsors off. People get intimidated by the Bible verse because it's something that we believe in, we put in there, and that moral lesson's always there, and that can be something that turns different sponsors off. So the sponsors and the people that we're partnering with, because it's not a sponsor relationship, it's a partner relationship where we're incorporating all the different things that we need to with them. It's complicated. It's like you said, it's a friendship, it's a relationship. These people are helping us accomplish the goal of getting more information and raise funds for conservation.
And it's because they care.
It's 100% because they care. It's not a corporate relationship with any of them.
Yeah.
And the first one is Ram Trucks. They've been with us since the very beginning, basically. They are the reason why the Green Way Outdoors was able to exist until now. They've helped us so much. And let me tell you something. All the other brands out there, in the truck industry, because we kind of talked to them all at once. Mm-hmm. They wanted the Bible verse out, or they didn't want the push of the conservation, or whatever it might be. Ram's focus, they chose us in the outdoor industry to be their representatives, and they chose us because of the conservation messaging. And as long as the Bible verse was inclusive to everybody, which how couldn't it be?
Right.
They were on board, and they have been, and they've been loyal, and they've been kind, and they've been helpful, and they've been caring, and they care about conservation. Mm-hmm. It's all they want to talk about. So I'm not trying to sway anyone from buying one truck to another, but I will tell you, none of the other brands were willing to do that. Ram was. And that's so important to me, that if you're a Christian or, you care about hunting and fishing and conservation, Ram was the one that stepped up big for us on that. And they were very focused on that, whereas the other brands that were turned off by it. So it's worth noting. Bass Pro Shops. So Bass Pro Shops obviously owns Cabela's. They've been around forever. They're amazing. They are the one-stop shop for all your outdoor goods. But not only that, if you know about the Outdoor Conservation Fund that Johnny Morris started through Bass Pro Shop, they raise millions and millions and millions of dollars for conservation. So much so that if Bass Pro Shops did not exist at this day and age, let's say they disappeared, I think we would lose hunting and fishing rights and possibly our Second Amendment, because they raise so much money for conservation and make hunting possible for so many people that and I hate to say this, but if at any point in time, if we can't hunt anymore because we lose something like Bass Pro Shops and the money that goes into conservation and protecting our wildlife and our lands and that sort of thing, as soon as we can't hunt anymore, then the next argument will be, well, if you're not hunting, you don't need guns. And you can say what you want about that, but that's the probable step. And to me, that's what Bass Pro represents. That's what they're protecting, and that's why it's so important that, like, working with them especially, it's such an honor that it's like it creates a level of pressure on us to develop the best show possible, because we don't want to let them down or what they're doing down.
Yeah.
Because I think they're that important. That if they're going to spend money with us, I want to make sure it's well spent because I want them to succeed that bad.
And that's another group of people where they're very receptive to new ideas and how to just, I mean, all of them. It's yes, it's a for-profit company, but all of them center it all around conservation. Individually, the staff care a lot about that.
From the top level all the way down. Yeah. And what was cool too is we were at the 50th anniversary, and we met so many people. And the one thing that we can all say, people that would be honest with us, that were our friends at Bass Pro, like Johnny Morris is the greatest human to work for ever.
Yeah. And
they never quit saying it. Everyone from the top level down. No one was around. We were alone. They could have said, you wouldn't believe it. You don't know. But
he's listening, so we have to say.
It wasn't like that. So that's pretty important to me, and I find that very important.
Yeah.
So Bass Pro Shop, that is why we work with them, and that's why we're proud to say you should be buying your gear there. Yeah. Amazon's not doing anything for conservation. You know what I'm saying? I mean, and Bass Pro Shop is, so keep that in mind. And then when you go to the register and it says, do you want to round up your change for the outdoor fund? That is the only place that I would highly recommend you do that roundup. Savage. So Savage is our gun sponsor. Again, these people were so forward-thinking. The reason why we started working with Savage is because Beth, she's the head of marketing there, nicest woman in the world, awesome hunter, super cool, so excited and fun and forward-thinking and conservation-based. And Savage, they make high-quality guns. They have forever. There's so many gun companies that use Savage barrels that almost, I mean, there's a lot of companies use Savage barrels because they're so high-end. They've always been good. I used a Savage when we were in Hawaii hunting axis deer. I have been using them for a very long time. One of my first rifles was a Savage. My dad's a big believer in them, so I've always kind of grown up around them. But the energy at Savage, very young and thinking, and a lot of people don't know this too, is like, so Savage was owned by a big group that owns a lot of outdoor brands. It was originally private, then it was owned by this big group, and then they got back together, the Savage staff, and bought it back from that big group because they didn't like the direction of the company. So the people that are running Savage are very, very passionate about what they do, and you can see it through everything that they do, from the quality of the products, but also they have a price point for everybody. You know, there's $300 guns all the way up to the $2,000 awesome guns, and everywhere in between. But they care about girls getting in the outdoors, they care about youth getting in the outdoors, and they're very focused on bringing cool quality content, which is awesome for us, as opposed to just stupid pictures that nobody wants to see. They're doing like recipes for wild game, and they kind of get involved in everything in the outdoors. So big fan of Savage as well.
They were a big example of, like you said in the beginning, people from the very beginning just coming across as real, wholesome people, and not, hi, I work for this corporation and here's the email that I have to send you. It was all very personable and nice, and you just tell they were real people.
Exactly. Next up is Nosler Ammunition. So Nosler does make rifles, very high-end carbon rifles. They're more of the expensive, you know, they've got stuff in the, I think, the 2,000 range, but they're a high-quality rifle.
Yeah.
If someone wants to go out and spend $4,000 on a rifle, Nosler's the choice. I mean, they're super high-quality carbon rifles, gorgeous, super accurate, just highest end, the Ferrari of the rifles. But in addition to that, they make incredible ammunition. And just like Weatherby, for instance, a lot of the ammunition that they load, like let's say you wanted to buy 300 Weatherby Magnum rounds from Weatherby, it's very likely that if you see it on there, it says AccuBond, they're using Nosler bullets. So just like Savage is like the king of everything where everyone uses their barrels, it's the same situation with Nosler bullets. They really are the best.
So interesting.
Nosler ammunition is the best. And something that we're going to be doing over the next coming weeks, too, with Nosler is we're going to have the different guests on from Nosler to talk about the different ammos. For instance, the 28 Nosler. I just got my Savage chambered in a 28 Nosler round. Incredibly fast round. 160 grain bullet going like 3,400 feet per second out of the barrel. Insane speeds. Most guns, like the 6.5 Weatherby RPM, they have to use a 127 grain bullet to get to those level of speeds. 127, you're getting 160 grains with the 28 Nosler at that speed. It's very impressive. It is premium ammunition. It's the best. So if you want the best, I mean, that's the one thing too, is like when you're deer hunting, we were talking about it, like a lot of guns, people shoot like 2 boxes of ammo ever through their gun. Why? Because they hunt with it. So, once it's sighted in, they're just shooting at stuff, it's like, at game. So at that point, you want the best. And if you do want the best, then Nosler Ammunition is the best. I've known that my whole life. And we're really, really proud to be working with them on the ammo side as well. Ego Fishing, if you're at Bass Pro and you're in the fishing department and you want the coolest nets of all time, a net that you don't have to buy ever again, you just buy one and you're done. They've got nets that float. They've got slider nets that do this crazy extension thing where you like move this much and the net goes out that much. I've been getting him in the butt when he walks by with it at the office.
Yeah.
Quality items that float. They have a great cooler selection that we're big fans of. Ego Fishing. And they make all kinds of different tools for fishing as well. If you want a pair of pliers that are never going to go, but they've got all the way titanium, $300 pliers all the way down to cheaper stuff for you to use. But no matter what, you're going to get a quality item. So if you are buying fishing accessories, Ego Fishing's the way to go. And, of course, you can get those at Bass Pro Shop. So the next up is Tracker Boats and Tracker Off-Road. So back to Bass Pro Shop, they own Tracker Boats as well as Tracker Off-Road. When you're buying products from them, you're helping conservation. Tracker Boats are incredible. We have the Targa as well as the Grizzly. The Grizzly is our flat bottom bow fishing and duck hunting boat, and our Targa is our walleye big water fishing bass boat. And they're incredible. They're solid. They've got Mercury motors on them, and there's no haggle price. So you don't have to deal with all the BS of haggling for a price and that sort of thing. It's just, it is what it is for everybody, and it's fair. A boat that might cost $45,000 through, a tracker is going to be $60,000 through another boat company, and you're not going to get half the options that you would get on a tracker. Everything comes with it. The trailer, everything is good to go.
Yeah.
So I can't say enough good things. We've been using them now for about 2.5 years, and we've never had a problem. So I highly, highly recommend those. And Tracker Off-Road, we're about to get our first side-by-side, which I'm excited about too. Especially for snow plowing. But they've got a huge selection, and all that can be found at Bass Pro as well. Next up, in the back to the fishing world is Sea-Doo. So Sea-Doo specializes in a you don't call it a jet ski, you wouldn't call it a wave runner, you would call it a Sea-Doo.
Sure.
And it's but it's that thing, that area.
Yeah.
So they have the trophy, which is the highest end of their fishing model, which is called the Fish Pro. So the Fish Pro series is made for fishermen to fish on Sea-Doos.
It's like a little personal boat.
Yep. It's got everything you need from a live well to everything you could possibly want in a Sea-Doo.
Oh, man. Dude.
But still all the fun of a regular Sea-Doo.
Yep. Depth finders. They're fast. They're very fast. I mean, outrageously fast. Me and Ryan have been cruising on them already. We've got a new episode coming out on our current platforms here in a couple weeks, and it is our Sea-Doo episode when we're in Florida.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. It's an amazing machine. If you want to fish alone, this is the one to do it. And we were offshore 7 miles. So it's not like you can't use it on the ocean too. Very cool. Very cool. Next up is Carlson's choke tube. So we've had Scott Carlson on the podcast before. At the end of the day, you need choke tubes for your shotgun. You need to make sure your loads pattern well. Carlson's is the best, and they're super affordable, and you can get them at Bass Pro Shop.
And we have a lot of videos on that, too.
Yes, we do.
On our YouTube.
Yeah, if you go to our YouTube channel, how to pattern for clays, how to pattern for ducks, how to pattern for turkeys, the patterning videos and how to do that is all there for you. I can't say enough good things. It's all I've ever used because it's always worked. Carlson's choke tubes are affordable, and on their website, if you go there, there's a little thing where you can plug in what your gun is, and it'll tell you what the threading is on your gun, so you know exactly which choke tube to buy. Super helpful. It's awesome. I can't say enough.
And the funny thing is, like, you think, a shotgun is a shotgun. You can add a little bit to it, and it might change a little bit. It's like it's a game changer. It's not just...
Well, here's the thing.
It's not like slightly changing something. Like it's drastically improving the gun.
If you can get Scott Slater to be like, what the heck? That's exactly what I got done. We went duck hunting.
True.
Okay. And there's ducks passing by at 50 yards. And you don't shoot because normally with a modified choke, especially if a stock gun, there's not much point in trying to shoot ducks at 50 yards.
Right.
Some people would even consider it unethical. I put in the long-range choke tube from Carlson's, and I was stoning them dead to the point where Scott's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, what is
are you
this?
shooting?
Because you're consistently killing them at that distance. So that was pretty special because Scott is very traditional. So to show him that, I'm like, dude, you got to get these. He's like, I will now.
That's
And
pretty
that's
cool.
wild. Because it worked.
Yeah.
Like all that stuff is like a lot of gimmicky stuff, but it worked.
Yeah.
Next up is Eskimo and Ion. So Eskimo is the premier ice fishing brand. We've had them forever. They make great ice shelters. They make all the accessories you need. They have augers and that sort of thing too. But at the same time, Ion Augers, which is an electric auger, is owned by the same company. They are the best in the auger space as far as like they're light. Number one, the new one's only 17 pounds, and then it drills through the ice in seconds. And on one charge, you can drill like 200 holes. I mean, they're incredible. And then the ice shelters are incredible. They've got the flip ones. They've got the sled ones. They've got the pop-ups. All the accessories you could ever want. We're going to be doing a fishing episode here on that new platform that we talked about. Very excited about going out to Idaho for some ice fishing. Shout out Brett High from the DNR there. We're going to have a good time. Eskimo Ion. Next up is Rufus Teague. That is a spice company. If you go on Rufus, you can just go to Rufus Teague's website, Google them, find them. They're sold in a lot of different places. They've got, what's cool is the snacks now. We've gotten really addicted to all the snacks.
Yeah.
The peanuts.
Those are really good.
Their coffee's pretty solid.
Did you like it?
Yeah.
Okay, I hadn't talked to you since you took it home. You did like it. Yeah. What got us into it was actually Carrie, Jeff's wife, and she likes nice things, and they have the best sauces and spices. And when we were in Maine, we actually used the chicken seasoning, their poultry seasoning, on the grouse.
Yeah, the rub.
And how good was it?
I used it on rice,
Stellar. Use on
and
anything.
it was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Rufus Teague seasoning, highly recommend it. Again, they were very excited about the forward thinking of our conservation efforts. So next up in the same space is LEM, which is a game processing company. So if you're looking for the absolute best equipment to process your wild game, from grinders to slicers to absolute anything you need,
Everything.
sausage kits,
Automation even.
casings, AJ's favorites, the hamburger maker. You put it right in. You can put a whole muscle into the double grinder. It'll grind it twice and put it right into the hamburger patty for you, and it pops right out. It's done.
Thing's a dang robot.
It's amazing. So LEM game processing equipment, highly recommend those. Next up is probably our most used item out of all of our sponsored items, and that's Quiet Cat. We ride them around. We pretty much quit driving cars. And we ride our Quiet Cats everywhere. It's Ryan's main mode of transportation right now.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
I had just had to turn my lease, and so now I'm Quiet Cat bound, and I couldn't be happier about it. Honestly, it's
Yeah.
pretty great.
Yeah.
So I also have a motorcycle. I've stopped using the motorcycle to use the Quiet Cat because it's convenient and easy
Oh yeah,
and quiet.
yeah.
Nice.
It's pretty enjoyable. So, and I live right in town, so it's easy to use that.
I mean, mine goes like 32, 33 miles an hour, easy and fast, and it's fun. And, everyone's like, what is that thing?
and it weighs like 2 pounds.
Yeah.
If you're looking for exercise, you can turn it off. Still use it as a regular bike.
I haven't run into that yet, but yeah. And then taking it on the trails and anywhere else you want to go, it's just like it's
Yeah.
like a silent motorcycle that you
Yeah.
get to go explore
It's
on.
got the fat tires, so you can go like off road with it.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. Wilderness Athlete. We obviously did a podcast with them that was pretty dynamic. Had them on as a guest. Wilderness Athlete products are the best outdoor supplements, but again, they care about conservation, and all of their products are designed in a laboratory with actual people that want to make sure, from high universities, that make sure that the product is super pure. So like in a lot of pre-workouts, you go look nowadays and there'll be 450 milligrams of caffeine in it, and that's all it really is, and there's like no science behind it, and they just use cheap stuff to bulk it up. You can rest assured knowing that the ingredients, and we have this verified now from Wilderness Athlete, are all very pure, and it's what your body actually needs.
Yeah.
And
They also have caffeine-free options.
yeah, the altitude pills too, for when you're going to elevation, to protect you from that. They've kind of thought of everything that has to do with an outdoor person, and obviously that we lived on the hydration packs when we were in
And the pack outs.
and the pack out bars in Maine. For that big hunt. So check out Wilderness Athlete for everything you need there, especially if you've got a dog as well. It's super helpful. And Isaac, we got that for you, so you can't feel too bad about this entire podcast.
Plus, we have a discount code.
Yeah. And I believe it's Greenway 20.
It is.
So
It is.
yeah, check out Greenway 20 for Wilderness Athlete. And then last, we haven't talked about Onyx yet. Onyx, we've used forever. We used OnX for 2 years before they sponsored us. OnX Hunt, it's an app that you can download on your phone. You can save maps for offline, so when you don't have cell service, you can still access it and know where you are on the map. It'll show you the boundaries between public and state lands. You can make sure that you're not trespassing. If you need to trespass, you can reach out to the owner because it'll give the information there. It protects you in every single way, and it has saved our butts. It's worth its weight in gold.
When I was buying a house, I even used it to check out properties.
Yeah.
Because it tells you.
Because it's that right.
It's like dead on. I would use that more than maps.
Yeah.
I do use that more than maps.
Yeah.
Just for looking at like geographic things.
Yeah.
But if you hunt and you're going anywhere, and especially if you don't know where you're going, I don't even know what you would do without it.
Yeah.
I've never done a big hunt without it.
We were
Ever.
in Maine, and we were in an area that was 500 square miles, I believe.
Yeah.
And we downloaded the entire area to our iPhones.
for like
And then you
2
can walk
megabytes.
around, and I don't understand how it works, but if you don't have service, you can still walk around, and it's like, oh, you downloaded this before you lost service. You're right here. It's like, I don't know how you know that, but great.
God bless
Thank
you.
goodness.
God bless you. Yeah. OnX Hunt, incredible app. You can download it, find it in the App Store. And last but not least is RecTech Grills. So RecTech is a grill company out of Georgia. It was started. It's family owned. If you want to get a little tearjerker going as far as like business motivation, go to their website and check out how they got started and how they grew it from just out of a garage all the way up to the company it is now with the amount of employees it has. And basically, if you want to get a pellet grill, but you want the absolute best quality, kind of like the Nosler ammunition, kind of like the Tracker boats, kind of like, if you want the premier best version of it, RecTech is the way to go. So RecTech grills, if you want a pellet grill, that's the way to go. I wanted to do this because I just kind of wanted to highlight who we're working with and let you know why. It's not just we're signing sponsors because of this new opportunity. These are people that we believe in, really appreciate, and also these people are like, yes, you can keep the Bible verse in. Yes, we like the fact that you've got conservation on your mind. And because of that, we're very grateful to them and happy to be working with them. Thank you so much for tuning in to the Greenway Outdoors podcast. Check out our main TV show on our website, thegreenwayoutdoors.com, as well as our Huntcast TV show. We have a new podcast here every week. Check out our social medias. Our handle is The Greenway Outdoors. Can you believe it? And don't forget, we have a real TV show. Got to say that again. That one's for you, Chuck. Thanks so much for tuning in. Stay green.